Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen, and today is, I guess, number 2 in my sort of Christmas gifting series that I'm doing using this fragrance from Be Scented, Bourbon Butterscotch, which smells oh so good. Really, really good. Today we're doing cold process soap, and I will leave the full recipe that we're using today in the description box down below. If you're on a regular computer, it says description box. If you're on a mobile device, it will either be a little upside down sort of arrow, or it will say show more. Well, that's where it is. The recipe will be down there. And today for the molds, I'm going to be using these little owl molds. I got a lot of them. I will see if I can find a link on Amazon for these. I got these at Hobby Lobby several years ago. So I don't know if they have them anymore. I will try to find a link for an available mold, because aren't those adorable? They're so cute. You can see the little wings have feathery things on them, toes. Oh my gosh, I love these so much. So here's the plan for today. We're going to make our soap batter, and I'm not going to add any color into it because this is going to discolor to brown. So I'm going to let it do its thing. But when it's all done discoloring, I'm going to do some mica painting, and we'll talk through that when we get there. But for the mica paint, this is from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It's called Blush Bronze Mica, and it is super duper sparkly. It's so cute, and I just want to highlight like the eyes and the toes and the feather areas of these owls. It just kicks it up a notch. Now this mica painting will wash off after a couple of uses, but it looks so pretty. It's worth it to me to take the time to do it. It looks beautiful in the packaging. It photographs well, so I love to do mica painting. It doesn't last, throughout the entire life of the soap bar, but it is so cute. So that's what we're doing today. I've got to get everything pulled together, and let's come back and make some bourbon butterscotch owls. Okay, we are back to make our lye solution for our owls today, and I wanted to bring you along step by step, and I'm going to do something different today. Normally I use sodium lactate in my lye solution to help unmold soaps so that they harden really quickly overnight and they unmold easy. Well, today we're just going to do good old-fashioned table salt and see how this does us. I've done this before. It's a great alternative to sodium lactate. It's a whole lot cheaper, and it works really well. The trick is you have to have your water. Here I have 12 ounces of cold distilled water, and I'm going to add my salt and my sugar, which is a lather booster, in here and dissolve it before we add the lye. That way the lye will dissolve and not make it get chunky. If you put the lye in first, you're going to have issues. But dissolve these additives in your water, you're good to go. So let's do that right now. Here is my sugar. This is 12 ounces of water, and to this I'm going to add, this is a 2 tablespoon scoop. So that is about half. So I'll say 1 tablespoon of sugar is going to go in here. Okay, for our table salt, it is a flexible thing a little bit, up to 1 teaspoon per pound of oils, and this is a 48 ounce batch total. So this is a 1 teaspoon measurement. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 and maybe 1.5 teaspoons of salt in here. So there's 1, and I'll just do a little more for good measure. There we go. And now I'm just going to stir this until all of those little crystally bits are 100% dissolved before we get moving on to our silk and lye. Okay, it is looking good and dissolved to me, so now it's time to add my silk fibers. And again, this is an optional ingredient. The salt and the sugar are optional also. You'll still get a great soap without those, but I like the benefits of them. And I like the silk. Silk gives literally a silky feel to your soap lather, and it gives like a glossy shine to a wet bar that I just think is pretty, and I have it. That's why I use it. But again, this is a totally optional thing, and I am going to just pull off, let's see, about that much. So I can't tell you how much this weighs. It has no weight. It's so light and fluffy, but just a little pinch will do you. It does not take much, and I like to stretch it out so that it dissolves a little easier if you just stretch the fibers out. I plop it in my cold water and sink it down with my spatula. And now I'm going to take my lye crystals and add them in here. And the heat mass from the lye hitting the water is going to melt those silk. Let me take the temperature and show you how fast this water heats up. So right now, this water is 50.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's add this lye in and watch how fast it goes. It's really cool. All right, and I like to stir my lye really well until I don't feel any grit and it's 100% dissolved before I quit stirring. Very smooth to me. It's already starting to heat up. I'm going to give it just a minute here and we'll take the temperature and I'll show you how fast that water heats up. Chemistry is so cool. All right, let's take it now. So we're at 189 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty hot, pretty quickly. That's fast. And it might get even a little bit more. This is going to go over 200 here in just a few minutes. But this needs to sit off and cool while we go get our oils out and get the oil preparation ready. And I'm going to put this in an ice bath. And so by the time the oils are ready to go, this should be cooled down and ready to go. So by the time this is ready, oil should be ready. Let's get it moving on. All right, we're back to measure our hard oils and butters in here, and I'm going to be measuring in ounces, but I will leave the written recipe down below in ounces and grams form and percentages for you, so you can size this recipe up or down however you like. I need 13 ounces of coconut oil to get started. All right, the next ingredient is shea butter, and I need 4.8 ounces of shea butter in here. Okay, now I'm going to melt these hard oils and butter down just a little before I add the liquid ones in. This is a recipe because we're not doing any swirl or anything. You could do the heat transfer method, which is you measure all your oils, hard and liquid, and then you use your hot lye solution to melt everything together. It works beautifully, but because I already have my lye solution on an ice bath and I didn't think ahead, I can't do that anymore. My lye is cooling already, and you need that heat to get this all melted. So I'm going to go give this a little melt, and we'll be back for the liquid oils. We are on to our liquid oils, and today's recipe has hempseed oil. I got this on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below, and it is fabulous in soap. Hempseed oil is wonderful, very nutrient dense. It's a dark green color. It's just luscious. If you don't have hempseed oil and you want to switch this out for another liquid oil, please run the numbers through a soap calculator, because not all oils have the same saponification value, meaning another oil might need a different lye ratio. So with soap recipes, you can't just randomly change out the oils. You have to always run the numbers through a soap calc. But if you have hempseed oil, use it. You're not going to regret it. It's fabulous. So I need 3.8 ounces of hempseed oil in here. Okay, and then the next liquid oil is castor oil. This is the bubble boosting oil. You love it. Don't use more than 5% castor in a soap, or 10% max. It can make a bar sticky, but if you stay under 10, I like 5%. It's a fabulous oil in your soap. So I need 2.4 ounces of castor oil. And our last liquid oil today is a soaping staple. It's olive oil, and I need 24 ounces of olive oil. All right, it is time to add our soap additives in here, and I'm also going to go ahead and add the fragrance in here because it soaps really well, even though it discolors a lot. And I looked up the IFRA value, and it's 3.6% for this particular fragrance, and so that would be 1.7 ounces of fragrance in here. So you always want to double check. 5% is the norm, but you will always have a fragrance sometimes once in a while that goes more or less, and so it's always good to double check how much fragrance you can add. That way with essential oils too, they're not all the same. So get familiar with SAP value, soap calculators, and fragrance calculators. That's going to help your journey a lot. We've got the fragrance. Now it is time for our clay. And this is a small batch for me, so I'm going to use, let's call that 1 tablespoon of kaolin clay and 1 tablespoon of colloidal oats. And just for the fun, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of buttermilk powder, because I love milk powders in my soap. Boy, it makes a really good lather. This is a 2 tablespoon scoop, so half of that. 1 tablespoon of each of my dry ingredients. And let's get these all blended in, and then we'll take the temperature of our oils and our lye and we'll get to blending them together to make soap. Dry ingredients are fully absorbed and blended in here really well. Let's go ahead and take the temperature now and see where we're at. So 89 degrees on the oils, and our little ice bath lye is at 74. So I am great with those temperatures. It's time to get moving on, and it's as simple as adding your lye solution to your oils and blending them. We're going to get to a light trace and get them poured in. I don't want to get too thick of a trace because these little owl molds have very tiny little details, and if your soap is too thick, it might not get in all the little crevices, and I really want it to. So I'm going for a lighter trace here and get these poured. And I have my molds on a tray, so if I need to move them around after I get them poured, you know, I can clear my work surface, because these are floppy, and if you just poured them, they would have to sit until they firm up, yada yada. Let's quit talking and get to making soap. The next day, you can already see the color starting to change, and in the name of full disclosure, I want to tell you what my issue is today. One of the ways I can tell if my embeds are ready to unmold, and these aren't embeds, but any sort of a cavity mold like this, because it has the little details on it, is I kind of pull away from the sides, and if I see any softness looking, if it doesn't look like it's just crisp and hard, like a hard piece of plastic pulling away, I need to wait. Tell that these are not rock hard yet, and if I try getting them out of the mold now, I'm going to bump the details and mess them up. The salt, I did 1.5 teaspoons. That was way too little. As I looked back on it, I needed to probably do a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of salt in for this size batch. So I way undershot the salt. And this is one of the things where sodium lactate or the proper amount of salt will help with unmolding. So all is not lost. What I'm going to do is just set these aside, walk away, let these sit for several days. It won't hurt them at all to sit in the molds here. And we will come back and revisit them. I'll just probably check them every day and see if they feel a little firmer. And I'm not going to unmold these until they are good and hard. So note to self, use more salt than I did or sodium lactate. So, all right, we'll see you in a few days. All right, we are back to unmold our owls, and I have to confess, it's been almost a week since I told you I was going to wait a few days. I went out of town, and anyway, time got away from me, and I want to show you. This is one that I popped out of the mold before I left, and it was sticky, and I'm like, oh no, but this sat exposed to the air. And this one, I double checked them before I turned my camera on. This is what they looked like coming out of the mold right now, and we'll unmold these. So look at how that discoloration is going to go. But this color is beautiful, that dark chocolate brown, and then when we come in with our mica painting, it'll really just amp up how cute these are. But anyway, let's get some of these out of the mold, and I'll talk a little more. So this fragrance, the bourbon butterscotch, was a slow moving fragrance, and those are slower to harden up and unmold, especially if you're not using sodium lactate like we didn't use here. And like I said earlier, I did not use enough salt. So all of those things worked. Look how cute and modelly he is. So again, this is going to turn into this. I think that's adorable. So yeah, I had a couple of things going against me. Not enough salt and a slow-moving fragrance. And so the moral of the story is, though, if you try unmolding something and it's not ready, just walk away and leave it. And see, this came out beautifully. All the little details, his little tiny toes and his eyes, everything is perfect. So patience is a virtue, and I need to keep preaching that to myself, because I am a very impatient soaper, and that has bitten me a few times. I think the motley color is kind of precious. But we're going to let these sit for another couple of days and get nice and dark before we come in and do the mica painting, because I want it to pop out and I'll be able to see where the mica is going. Oh, look, I even bumped his eye, even this right now. He'll be okay. His little toes are cute and his nose stayed on. But yeah, I want to be able to see where I'm doing the mica painting, so we'll wait for them to all get this nice chocolate brown before we come in and do that. So let me get the rest of these out of the mold. Here we are. It's been a couple of days and look how adorable. They're all really darkened up, almost all the way uniform. A few of them still have a couple of spots, but this will all darken up in the end. So cute. So now it's time to decorate our little fellows here. I think they are adorable. What I have here is a very small sort of eyeshadowy blending brush that I got extra in a makeup kit and I didn't use it, so this is designated for my soap room. And today we're going to be using brushed bronze mica from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It is super shimmery. It's got that beautiful sort of bronzy caramel color that I think goes with the fragrance of these owls. So I'm going to take a dry brush, dip it in my dry mica, and come in here on these soap bars, and we're just going to do a little bit of highlighting. And yes, this will come off the first couple times you use the soap, but it looks so adorable that I think it's well worth it. Look at that. And I'm going to do their little chest feathers here and probably their wings, just because it's so cute. And then look, I'm going to wrap these in shrink wrap so you will be able to see the little highlights on them. And I just think it adds a little something. Not a lot. It's subtle, but it's adorable. So it goes from this to this, and I love it. So I'm just going to finish painting all these little guys up, and that's pretty much it for the soap owls. I hope you give the recipe a try, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Have a wonderful day.